The bloodiest fighting is currently taking place in the Donetsk. The situation near Donetsk is very difficult. We are doing everything we can to stop enemy activity. This is our main goal now, because Donbass continues to be a priority for the occupiers. Ukrainian troops managed to fend off Russian attacks in the regions of Soledar, Zaitsev, Mayorsk, Bakhmut, and Pervomyaisk, among others. The situation in Zaporizhia remains tense. Local workers do not want to cooperate with the enemy and are trying to leave the areas temporarily occupied by the occupiers. The occupied part of the Kherson region is completely closed to entry and exit. Moscow continues shelling Ukrainian cities. In the last 24 hours, Russia attacked, among others, Mykolaiv, Zaporizhia, and the region of Nikopol. The mayor of Mykolaiv, Alexander Senkievich, presented the latest. There were attacks in various parts of the city. Currently, it is known about the destruction of many civilian facilities, including residential buildings and shops, as well as the water supply network. I ask everyone to be as careful as possible. Don't post your destinations on social media. My child was with its mother. We were lucky that the windows in this room are made of metal and plastic. I think we were lucky. This part just fell apart because the windows are old and everything is covered with debris. The ceiling is also damaged. In ruined buildings, the wounded are waiting for help, and the facilities are waiting for a dignified burial. Dogs were used to search through the rubble. The soldiers were trapped under this collapsed building. We found some of them under the rubble and now are looking for others with the help of search dogs. We will mark the potential locations of the bodies and then we will dig the ground. The dogs gave us some clues as to where the bodies might be. We will check them, then the soldiers will remove the rubble to see if there are any remains. Ukrainian troops in the territories recaptured from occupation discover more evidence of Russian crimes. We are in temporarily occupied territory in the Kharkiv region. We are taking steps to evacuate the bodies of our soldiers of the National Guard of the Army Forces of Ukraine, volunteer battalions, as well as civilians who were under enemy fire, and their bodies were in this remote territory. Due to the waves of Russian desertion, the Finnish border guard wants to build a fence on the border. According to the proposal, the wall will cover up to 20% of the border, which is in total 1,200 kilometers in length. Satellite images captured huge lines of refugees from Russia heading towards Georgia and Mongolia. However, a significant proportion of Russians still believe Putin's propaganda. We took an oath that we would defend our homeland. Second, people need our help, and we will not leave them alone. I would like to remind you again, those who are deaf only hear themselves. Russia has the right to use nuclear weapons, if necessary, in predetermined situations. In the face of the constant threat from Russia, Canadian Foreign Minister Melanie Joly at the United Nations Forum in New York recalled the importance of the unity and determination of the Western world.
President Putin informed that he will conscript more young people into his war of choice. He threatened our collective security with reckless and dangerous nuclear rhetoric. For Putin, this is a war to the death. For Ukraine, it is a war for life. Russia's war machine has caused enormous civilian suffering and destruction in Ukraine.
Turkey announced that Vladimir Putin is ready to start peace talks with Volodymyr Zelensky. When asked about this, Kremlin spokesman Dmitry Peskov said that Moscow was open to dialogue, but that peace conditions would depend on the situation. In turn, President Volodymyr Zelensky had previously announced that Kiev would not enter into negotiations with the Kremlin until the Kremlin ceased its criminal activities on Ukrainian territory.